All right, let's go. Number 10, the Lorimer Burst. In the vast, silent expanse of the cosmos, we expect events to unfold on geological timescales, stars burning for billions of years, galaxies colliding over eons, and nebulae slowly giving birth to new solar systems. But in 2007, an astronomer named Duncan Lorimer shattered this assumption while sifting through archival data from the Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia. He wasn't looking for a paradigm shift. He was simply searching for ancient pulsars in data recorded back in 2001. Instead, he found something that shouldn't exist. Bursting from the small Magellanic Cloud, just outside our Milky Way, was a radio signal of incomprehensible power. It lasted for a mere 5 milliseconds, a fraction of an eye blink. Yet, in that microscopic sliver of time, the source released as much energy as our sun produces in several years. When Lorimer and his team analyzed the dispersion measure of the signal, the way higher frequencies arrived slightly before lower frequencies, they realized this signal had traveled through the intergalactic medium for approximately 3 billion light-years. It was the first fast radio burst, FRB, ever detected, and it threw the astrophysical community into absolute chaos. What makes the Lorimer burst deeply unsettling is the sheer violence required to produce it. For a signal to travel 3 billion light-years and still hit our telescopes with such overwhelming intensity, the originating event must have been cataclysmic. Initially, scientists theorized it was the death cry of a collapsing star or the catastrophic merger of two black holes. But a single, millisecond-long burst of such concentrated energy defied conventional models of stellar death. It proved that the universe contains explosive engines of localized, instantaneous destruction that we are entirely blind to. We are floating in a cosmos where localized events can outshine entire galaxies for 1,000th of a second, leaving absolutely no trace behind. The Lorimer burst was our first warning that the dark void of space is constantly crackling with invisible, unfathomable violence. Number 9. The chime repeating FRB. Following the discovery of the Lorimer burst, astronomers assumed fast radio bursts were singular, apocalyptic events. Supernovas only happen once. Black holes merge only once. If FRBs were the result of cosmic destruction, they should never repeat from the same location. Then, the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment, CHIME, telescope came online. Staring unblinkingly at the northern sky, CHIME detected FRB 180916. It wasn't just a burst, it was a broadcast, and it was repeating. But repetition wasn't the most disturbing part. In 2020, researchers noticed a pattern in the data that sent a collective shiver down the spine of the astronomical community. The bursts from FRB 180916 weren't random. They followed a rigid, unyielding clockwork cycle. The source would wake up and fire bursts of radio waves toward Earth for exactly 4 days. Then, it would go completely silent. For precisely 12 days, not a single whisper would emerge from that patch of sky. Then, right on schedule, the 16.35-day cycle would begin again, firing another 4-day barrage of signals. It has not missed a single beat. The implications are staggering. Natural cosmic phenomena are chaotic. Black hole accretion disks are messy, unpredictable environments. While pulsars rotate with high precision, they don't simply turn off for 12 days and resume with flawless timing. This 16.35-day cycle suggests a complex orbital dance, perhaps a neutron star orbiting a massive companion star, where the bursts only align with Earth during a specific window of the orbit. Or perhaps it's a stellar wobble, a procession that points a lethal beam of energy at us for 4 days a month like a cosmic lighthouse. But beyond the natural explanations lies an uncomfortable thought. The precision is almost artificial. We are looking at an engine located 500 million light-years away, operating with the mechanical regularity of a Swiss watch, pumping out suns worth of energy on a strict schedule. It forces us to confront the reality that the universe possesses mechanisms of geometric precision operating on a scale that makes our entire solar system look microscopic. Number 8. The Einstein Cross Radio Source. When we look up at the night sky, we trust our eyes. We believe that light travels in a straight line and that seeing is believing. But deep space has a way of bending reality, literally. The Einstein cross is an astonishing visual and radio phenomenon where a single distant quasar, a hyperactive supermassive black hole, appears not as one object, but as four distinct points of light arranged in a perfect cross around a foreground galaxy. This is gravitational lensing, a concept predicted by Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity, happening right before our eyes. The foreground galaxy, known as Hooker's lens, is so incredibly massive that its gravity warps the very fabric of space-time around it. As the radio waves and light from the distant quasar behind it travel toward Earth, they hit this warped space-time and are bent, splitting into four separate paths. But here is where the phenomenon crosses from fascinating physics into cosmic horror. Because the four paths the light takes around the galaxy are of different lengths and pass through different gravitational intensities, the light from each of the 4 points arrives at Earth at slightly different times. When astronomers observe the Einstein cross flickering or flaring in radio frequencies, they aren't just seeing a distant event. They are seeing the exact same event happen 4 different times, separated by days, weeks, or even months. You are watching a replay of reality broadcast through a natural cosmic DVR. What makes this unsettling is how it destroys our perception of a unified reality. We are looking at a single object, but we are seeing its past and its future simultaneously, depending on which point of the cross we look at. It proves that time and space are entirely relative, malleable constructs. If gravity can shatter an image into 4 distinct timelines, how can we ever truly trust what we see in the deeper universe? The Einstein cross is a chilling reminder that the cosmos is a hall of mirrors, and the light reaching our telescopes may be nothing more than a distorted illusion, warped by invisible monsters lurking in the dark. Number 7. The Crab Pulsar Signal. In the year 1054, Chinese astronomers recorded a guest star in the sky so bright it was visible during the day for nearly a month. Today, we know they were witnessing a supernova, the explosive death of a massive star. What remains of that violent death is the Crab Nebula, an expanding cloud of gas and debris. But at the exact center of this glowing shroud lies the corpse of the star itself, the Crab Pulsar. It is a sphere of neutronium, just 20 kilometers across, yet containing more mass than our Sun, spinning at a dizzying rate of 30 times per second. As it spins, the Crab Pulsar sweeps twin beams of radio waves and X-rays across the cosmos, striking Earth exactly 30 times a second. It is one of the most studied objects in the sky. Yet, despite decades of observation, the Crab Pulsar continues to emit signals that completely break our understanding of physics. Occasionally, without warning or pattern, the pulsar fires off what astronomers call giant radio pulses. These are sudden, unpredictable spikes in radio emission that are hundreds, sometimes thousands of times more energetic than its normal pulses. What makes these giant pulses so deeply disturbing is that they violate the theoretical limits of what a pulsar should be able to produce. The energy density of these pulses is so high that if they were produced by a coherent emission mechanism, the standard way pulsars emit radio waves, the necessary temperatures would exceed billions of degrees, physically tearing the stellar atmosphere apart. Furthermore, recent observations have shown that these giant radio pulses are accompanied by spikes in X-ray and optical light, a synchronization that current astrophysical models cannot explain. The Crab Pulsar is a dead star, a corpse left behind by an ancient explosion. Yet it is not resting peacefully. It is screaming into the void with bursts of energy so intense they defy the very laws of physics that govern stellar remnants. It is a zombie star, continually violently asserting its existence, reminding us that in the universe, even death is not the end of unimaginable power. Number 6. Galactic Center Radio Filaments. For decades, astronomers have peered into the center of the Milky Way, attempting to pierce the thick veils of dust and gas to see the supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A star, that anchors our galaxy. With the advent of highly sensitive radio telescopes like Meerkat in South Africa, we finally mapped the galactic center in unprecedented detail. What we found wasn't just a black hole. Surrounding the galactic center, dangling in the void, are thousands of highly organized, magnetized radio filaments. These filaments are entirely unique. They stretch up to 150 light-years in length, yet remain incredibly narrow. They are arranged in parallel clusters, spaced at perfectly even intervals, looking uncannily like the strings of a cosmic harp or the threads of a colossal spider web. They emit strong radio waves generated by cosmic ray electrons, spiraling along magnetic field lines at near the speed of light. But the origin of these electrons and the mechanism that maintains these rigid, parallel magnetic structures over such immense distances remains an absolute mystery. The horror of the radio filaments lies in their organization. Natural structures in space, nebulae, star clusters, gas clouds, are inherently chaotic, shaped by explosive forces and swirling gravity. But these filaments are ordered. They are structured. They run perpendicular to the galactic plane, suggesting that the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy is generating a vast, highly structured magnetic ecosystem that we completely failed to predict. It shifts our perspective of the galactic center from a simple gravitational drain to an active, complex engine, weaving magnetic tapestries that span hundreds of light years. We are living in a galaxy where the central power source is quietly constructing colossal, invisible architectures of pure energy, strings of plasma that pluck to the tune of a supermassive black hole. We don't know why they are there, how they survive the violent forces of the galactic core, or what their ultimate purpose in the galactic ecosystem might be. Number 5. The ASCAP FRBs. While fast radio bursts are inherently mysterious, the signals detected by the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder, ASCAP, telescope introduced a new layer of profound strangeness. ASCAP wasn't just detecting the raw energy of FRBs. Its advanced receivers were analyzing the exact structure and polarization of the radio waves. What they found was a signal that had been physically twisted and mangled by the space it traveled through. Light and radio waves can be polarized, meaning their waves oscillate in a specific orientation. The ASCAP FRBs arrived at Earth with an extreme degree of circular polarization, essentially corkscrewing through space. But more importantly, the signals showed massive Faraday rotation. This is a phenomenon where the polarization of a radio wave rotates as it passes through a magnetic field in the presence of free electrons. The degree of rotation ASCAP measured was staggering. It indicated that these fleeting millisecond bursts hadn't just traveled through empty space. They had violently punched through some of the most extreme, highly magnetized environments in the universe. The unsettling implication is what this tells us about the empty space between galaxies. We typically view the intergalactic void as a quiet, dark, empty vacuum. The ASCAP FRBs prove this is a complete illusion. The void is not empty. It is a turbulent, boiling ocean of invisible, colossal, magnetic fields and plasma clouds. For a signal to be twisted this severely, it must have navigated through magnetized plasma dense enough to warp radiation, yet invisible to our optical telescopes. The ASCAP signals carry the scars of their journey, serving as a terrifying reminder that the spaces we consider nothingness are actually treacherous, highly charged environments. The universe is entirely filled with invisible turbulence, and these twisted radio signals are the only evidence we have of the unseen, magnetic monsters lurking in the dark between the galaxies. Number 4. Long-period radio transients. In the realm of radio astronomy, the rules governing pulsars and magnetars have been written for decades. A neutron star must spin rapidly to generate the magnetic dynamo required to emit radio waves. If it slows down too much, it crosses what astrophysicists call the death line, the point where it simply lacks the energy to produce radio emissions, fading into an eternal, silent cosmic cinder. But recent discoveries have completely shattered this fundamental law. Astronomers mapping the sky with low-frequency radio arrays detected a source, like Gleam XJ, 1627-59.5-523504.3, that was pulsing brightly, disappearing entirely, and then pulsing again. But it wasn't pulsing every few seconds, like a normal neutron star. It was pulsing every 18 to 22 minutes. According to every established model of astrophysics, an object rotating this slowly is well beyond the death line. It should be dead. It should be absolutely silent. Yet, there it was, blasting out highly polarized radio waves, becoming one of the brightest radio sources in the sky for a full minute before fading back into the dark. This discovery plunges astrophysics into an uncomfortable unknown. How can a stellar corpse that is mathematically proven to be dead still generate enough power to light up the radio sky? Some theorize it is an ultra-long period magnetar, a highly theoretical class of stars with magnetic fields so incredibly twisted they can somehow force radio emissions even at a crawl. Others suggest it might be a highly magnetic white dwarf. But both explanations require physics that we have never observed and barely understand. These long-period transients are the true undead of the cosmos. They are celestial bodies that have crossed the threshold of stellar death, yet stubbornly refuse to go quiet. They emit slow, agonizingly long pulses of energy, breaking the laws of physics simply by existing. It forces us to wonder, if our foundational models of stellar life and death are this incomplete, what other impossible objects are quietly ticking away in the darkness, waiting for us to tune to the right frequency? Number 3. GPMJ 1839-10. If a 20-minute pulse was an anomaly, GPMJ 1839-10 is a nightmare of thermodynamics. Discovered recently by a team using the Murchison Wide Field Array, this object pulses radio waves every 22 minutes. The pulses can last up to 5 minutes long. But the true horror of GPMJ 1839-10 wasn't revealed by the modern telescopes that found it. It was revealed by the archives. When astronomers realized the exact coordinates and frequency of this object, they dug through historical radio telescope data to see if it had been captured before. They looked at data from 2020. It was there. They checked 2010. It was there. They went back to the archives of the Very Large Array from 1988, and to their absolute shock, the signal was there. GPMJ 1839-10 has been firing a massive 5-minute-long burst of radio waves at Earth every 22 minutes for more than 33 years. And we simply didn't notice. Why is this terrifying? Because it is energetically impossible. For a highly magnetized object to emit radio waves so powerfully and so slowly, it must be expending an astronomical amount of its rotational energy. Over the course of 33 years, an object behaving like this should have visibly slowed down. Its magnetic field should have decayed, the signal should have weakened, or the timing should have shifted. But GPMJ 1839-10 has done none of these things. It has maintained its 22-minute pulse with the relentless, unyielding precision of a machine. It does not fit the profile of a white dwarf. It completely breaks the models for a magnetar. It is a cosmic heartbeat, a rhythmic, deep space transmission that defies the laws of energy conservation and stellar evolution. To know that this impossible signal has been washing over our planet continuously since the late 1980s, unnoticed, is a humbling realization. We are surrounded by phenomena that operate on mechanisms so foreign to our understanding of physics that they might as well be magic. Number 2. X-ray bursts. While radio bursts capture the imagination with their mystery, they are largely harmless. X-ray bursts, however, are the universe's invisible assassins. These are profound, sudden spikes in X-ray radiation that wash over our solar system, originating from the deep void. Unlike radio waves, X-rays carry immense ionizing energy. They are the byproduct of the universe's most violent interactions. A black hole tearing a companion star to shreds, a neutron star accreting matter until the surface undergoes a runaway thermonuclear detonation, or the birth of a new singularity. When astronomers detect these X-ray bursts using space-based observatories, they are observing the release of more energy in 10 seconds than our sun will emit in its entire 10 billion year lifetime. These signals travel across the galaxy, entirely invisible to the human eye, passing silently through the vacuum. Currently, the ones we detect originate tens of thousands, or millions of light years away. At that distance, they are mere data points on a graph, interesting anomalies for physicists to study. But the cosmic horror of X-ray bursts lies in their potential proximity. The universe is a dynamic, moving place. Rogue neutron stars and hidden black holes wander through the galaxy unseen. If a system capable of producing a massive X-ray burst were to wander within a few dozen light-years of Earth and detonate, we would have absolutely no warning. The burst travels at the speed of light, The moment we see it is the moment it hits us. A powerful, close proximity X-ray burst sweeping over Earth would instantly strip away our ozone layer. It would bathe the surface in lethal levels of ultraviolet and cosmic radiation, destroying the lower food chain and triggering a mass extinction event on a scale unseen since the dinosaurs. These bursts remind us that we live in a fragile bubble. We are entirely at the mercy of cosmic snipers, silent, invisible beams of sterilization that sweep through the galaxy, completely indifferent to the life that might stand in their way. Number 1. The BLC-1 signal. In December 2020, a leak from the Breakthrough Listen project, the most comprehensive scientific search for extraterrestrial intelligence in history, sent shockwaves across the globe. Researchers analyzing data collected by the Parkes Observatory the previous year had found a signal. It was designated BLC-1, Breakthrough Listen Candidate 1, and it was exactly what scientists had been waiting decades to see. The signal came directly from the direction of Proxima Centauri, a red dwarf star that is our closest stellar neighbor, sitting just 4.2 light-years away. Proxima Centauri is known to host at least one Earth-sized planet in its habitable zone, but the location wasn't the most shocking part. It was the nature of the signal itself. BLC-1 was a narrowband radio emission centered at precisely 982.002 MHz. Nature does not create narrowband signals. Pulsars, quasars, and solar flares emit radio waves across a broad, messy spectrum. A signal confined to a razor-thin frequency is the unmistakable signature of technological engineering. Even more compelling, the signal exhibited a slow, precise drift in frequency. This Doppler shift indicated that the transmitter was moving relative to Earth, exactly the kind of shift you would expect from a transmitter located on a planet, rotating on its axis and orbiting a star. For weeks, the scientific community held its breath. Could it be? Could the very closest star system to our own harbor a technological civilization? Eventually, rigorous peer-reviewed analysis concluded that BLC-1 was likely a highly unusual form of human-made radio frequency interference, a bizarre reflection of our own technology bouncing off orbital debris or atmospheric anomalies. But despite this conclusion, BLC-1 remains profoundly unsettling. It was the ultimate drill. It proved that a signal perfectly mimicking an alien transmission can appear at any moment, from our very doorstep. But more importantly, it forced humanity to confront the chilling intimacy of the cosmos. We always imagined alien contact coming from distant galaxies or faraway nebulas. BLC-1 made us realize that an alien intelligence could be residing practically in our own backyard. If a real signal ever does arrive from a neighbor like Proxima Centauri, it means the galaxy is absolutely teeming with life, and we are surrounded. The silence we hear isn't emptiness. It is the quiet before the greeting.